entertaining football game. You had this play. You had a quarterback punch a couple people, including kind of a ref. It was kind of a flop. He gets thrown out of a game on what could have been a game-winning drive. This was a wild bowl game.
Nothing's better than a ref who's in charge of calling flops and things like that, flopping himself.
It wasn't. In fairness, I should say, it wasn't the Pitt quarterback, the young man who made this pass. It was.
It won that game.
It was an exciting
Mavs
game.
and Spurs. Luka Doncic returning from injury. Big night for him, but nice little behind-the-back pass from Seth Curry.
Ooh.
Right to Luka.
Seth is nice.
He's been nice
maybe
for them
is
this
nice
year.
too strong of a word,
No.
but he's a good player. You know, everybody thinks about Steph, but Seth is a good player.
He's been a hell of a lot better than his brother this year.
I'll see, look at
What?
Any chance to take a shot.
What do you mean? I'm giving credit to the guy that's actually playing, not out with an allegedly broken hand.
The other guy with the broken hand, the man of the decade, the player of the decade.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
Steph Curry, your colleagues at the New York Times
called
him player of the decade. My God, I see why
I
you left
disagree,
him.
but hey.
Dorian Finney-Smith
Shows he had
going
a good
high, same game. It's a nice shot right here. Look how high he gets up.
There we go. He's definitely been the best Finney-Smith in the league this year. And Mavs, nice win. Luka's back.
Yeah, I've called Dorian Finney-Smith one of the nondescript role players, but he's going to get description if he keeps doing things like that.
Knicks and
Worthy
Nets.
of description.
Frank Ntilikina finding a rolling Mitch Robinson. Reaches
Brian,
back for the LE.
Those are your Nets. What happened?
Oh, my goodness. They're getting embarrassed at home by the Knicks. Come on, they got to be better than
It's
that.
a new Knicks team, though. They're 4-5 since the coaching change.
They're not that
balling.
new.
4-5 for them is like
The
unbelievable.
Nets made 8 two-point buckets in the game. That's just embarrassing.
They thought they were the Houston Rockets last night.
Except they weren't hitting the threes either.
53 pointers.
This was one of the worst games any team's played all year by the Nets yesterday offensively.
Ooh.
Thunder Grizzlies, Chris Paul drawing two defenders, delivering the sneaky dime to Steven Adams.
That's why they call him the point guy. That was a great pass. Look, they may be Chris has been so good for them that they're winning a little too much, I think, for their liking.
And
It wasn't about making the playoffs.
100%. And they didn't win yesterday, but Chris Paul was sensational again. It's not the best of looks for my guy James Harden, how great Chris Paul has played now that he gets to control the team.
Nick, little in or out?
Love to, Jim.
NFL.com ranked all 32 starting quarterbacks. And no surprise, Lamar Jackson, #1 on that list.
That is a
But
surprise.
Broussard, are you in or out on Lamar being the quarterback that you would most want in the playoffs?
I'm out. I would go with Pat Mahomes. He would be my guy. And here's the thing. Lamar has seen one good team twice. And that's the LA Chargers. And we saw what they did to him in the playoffs last year. Had a good game against them in the first time in the regular season. Second time, they basically shut him down until the end. The two teams he's seen twice this year are bad teams, Cincinnati and Cleveland. So I'm not saying he's going to fail or struggle in the playoffs, but that's just something I wonder about. Whereas with Mahomes, I don't wonder at all about him.
I'm in. The one person in the league that puts fear into everyone on the defensive side of the football is Lamar Jackson. He's a guy that can beat every defense that you scheme up, every way that you try to stop him. He can beat that best athlete on the field at all times. He's a running back when he runs the football, and when he's in the pocket, he's a passing quarterback. Most impressive player all year long, of course.
Lamar's been the most impressive player all year long. Lamar's going to be the MVP, and he should be the unanimous MVP. But in the postseason, I'm with you, Broussard. Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in football, even if Lamar's had the best season. And there is an element, even if it's just a small element, of anxiety I have for Lamar, given the only playoff performance we've seen from him was so bad for 3+ quarters. And to his credit, he's not only stayed in there, but he actually played well in the final 12 minutes of that game against the Chargers last year in the postseason. We know what Patrick Mahomes can do. We know what he did in the playoffs last year, even though the second game was an overtime loss. He played brilliantly in that second half, played really well in their first playoff game. So to me, I'm out because the answer is Patrick Mahomes.
All right,
Nobody
moving on
said
to the
Tom
big
Brady.
news.
Hometown bias.
Nobody said Tom Brady. That's
No one asked me. Tom
He was in
Brady
consideration.
needs all the help he can get on offense. And Mohamed Sanu is ready to step up, saying he hasn't scratched the surface on what he can do in New England. Chris Broussard, you in or out on Mohamed Sanu being a big part of the Patriots' offense in the playoffs?
I'm out. You know, and I really thought this was a great pickup for them, and Sanu just hasn't answered the call. 7.5 yards per catch. That's the career low for him. You know, now the one time he did have a good game really was Baltimore. So could he do that again? Maybe. But I do think he'll make a significant catch, especially if they have multiple playoff games. If they end up playing 2 games at least, I think he'll come up with a significant catch in one of these these games. But to be a dominant factor, no, I don't see it.
Oh, he won't be a dominant factor, and I'm out on this because he doesn't understand the offense. This offense is so detail-oriented that you have to understand 12 yards means 12 yards, not 11, not 11 and a half, and he just doesn't understand it yet. He hasn't picked it up quite yet. They need a great defense to win. They don't need Mohamed Sanu to play great.
Well, even with a great defense, they're going to need to score some points. I am in, but not because I think Mohamed Sanu is going to have a huge touchdown catch. Look into a crystal ball. What do I see? I see the Patriots trailing the Chiefs in the divisional round. It's mid-third quarter. They toss the ball on what looks like a wide receiver reverse. Mohamed Sanu, what's he doing? Oh, he's getting ready to pass. 7 of 8 in his career. Former quarterback, perfect passer rating. I fall off my couch and I start to get real nervous that this is how my team's going to lose. They end up winning anyway, but Mohamed Sanu throws a touchdown pass in the playoffs for the New England Patriots. That is my prediction right here.
And
that would make an impact.
And a close game. You said the third quarter?
Yeah.
Close game.
Close game.
And that's against KC.
Against KC in the divisional
You guys,
round.
this is all just in make-believe.
If
They're
it's a
asking you
close
follow-up
game
questions like that
in the third
actually
quarter,
happened.
you might be in trouble.
All right, moving on to the Green Bay Packers. They're just a win away from a first-round bye, 1 win away, and they've done it all with Aaron Rodgers being middle of the road in terms of passing yards and touchdowns. Chris Broussard, you win around on the Packers making a Super Bowl run, even if Rodgers isn't dominating.
Yeah, hopefully I'm not misunderstanding the spirit of the question, because I don't think he has to be dominant, where 3-4 straight games he is just the old Aaron Rodgers throwing for 350-plus yards a game. I don't think he has to be that. I think you'll have to have 1 or 2 big games for them to win the Super Bowl, because the teams they have to go through, especially if they're not at Lambeau, San Francisco, the AFC champion, they're going to have to put up big points, New Orleans, to beat those teams. So they're going to need him to be Aaron Rodgers at some point in the postseason, but not every game to win.
I'm in on the question, and I don't think he has to be dominant. I agree with you there. I want to remind people, 2010, their Super Bowl year, 3,900 yards, 28 touchdown passes, 11 interceptions. This year, 3,900 yards, 26 touchdown passes, and 3 interceptions through 15 games, excuse me. This is not big difference between what we've seen in the year that they won the Super Bowl and Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have to be dominant. They need to get Aaron Jones involved. They have to have a dominant defense. If they do that, they absolutely will win.
Oh, so I think we're all on the same page here. I'm in this regard. I think he's going to have a brilliant game. I think in the NFC Championship game to either beat San Francisco or New Orleans, who I think they would be playing in that spot, he's going to have to be great in that spot. I don't think he has to be great throughout the entirety of the run. I think they can win a game based on defense and running game, and then we'll see if they make the Super Bowl who their matchup is against. So along the lines you guys are saying, dominant for a moment, yes. Dominant throughout the entirety of the run, I don't think he has to be. So I'm in with you guys.
All right, on to the Dallas Cowboys now. They're hoping Dak Prescott can give it a go on Sunday. He missed practice again yesterday dealing with a shoulder injury. Broussard, you in around on the Cowboys beating Washington without a very 100% healthy Dak Prescott.
I'm all in. I might be the only one who's all in, but I'm all in, all right? Dak doesn't have to be great. He has to be solid, and I think he'll learn from playing with the shoulder injury last week. I think he'll learn from it and be better this week. I think his decision-making will be better. He'll have a better feel for what he can and can't do. And you got so many, the receivers have to step up. The run, Ezekiel Elliott, I think he'll be, I'm in on it.
I'm in as well. Last week they gave Zeke 13 carries. If they do anything close to that again, that's going to be a shame. And obviously Jason Garrett will get fired immediately, probably get on the plane. They have to hand the ball to Zeke. That's the answer to this question. Dak doesn't have to be dominant. We're 100%. They just need to hand the ball off.
I'm in on them being able to win without